Welcome to Not the Day Job Podcast, Episode 2. We are back where we talk about anything but our work life, where it comes sports, hobbies, entertainment. As always, I am joined by Garrett, Jacob, and myself, Corey. I'm going to start off with the sports segment. What we have going on in the NBA, just look at the conference standings real quick. We have out west, we have the Blazers at 12-5, first in the conference.
First in the Western Conference?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
I'm a little bit salty because I'm a Lakers fan, but
True.
also I live in Portland, so I root for them. So
Yeah.
it's cool, but it's also
knowing you're setting up for failure later
Yes.
on in the season. So
it's an empty feeling because you know that they're not going to be able to do anything with it. They might get a good seed in the playoffs, but this is every year for the Blazers.
you're
Right.
waiting
You know
for
what I'm
the
saying?
mega team. Like right now, Steph Curry's out for Golden State, and they're just not clicking. But you know, throughout the season, they're gonna start clicking,
Right.
and they're gonna start dominating.
Even
teams.
Houston.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, once they got rid of
Houston's
Carmelo, they're good. They've been playing good after they got rid of him.
Yeah, except that they got rid of key pieces in the offseason.
Yeah, they did. But they'll be better than the Blazers come what may.
I don't know.
They will in the
yeah,
playoffs.
we'll see. But
Even the Lakers, I think, will be better than... I mean, the Lakers, I think, have a better chance at going deeper in the playoffs than Portland does. But, yeah, we'll see. And then in the East, we have Toronto at 14-4. They are killing it right now. Kawhi Leonard's playing really good for him. Obviously, Philadelphia made some big moves. We talked about that last week. They're an exciting team to watch. I think the most disappointing team in the West for me right now would be Utah.
The
Yeah.
Jazz.
They're at 8-9,
they're sitting at
and
12,
it
4
looks
games
like
back.
Mitchell's kind of in a funk, but he's really fun to watch when he's going,
Yeah.
and hopefully he gets out of it because he's a great player to watch when he's on. And in the East, I think the biggest disappointment is the Wizards. 6-11.
They've been one of the biggest disappointments
Yeah.
for years in a row.
Yeah, they got so much talent, but
Most of those
They
guys are
just
going
can't gel.
free agent, aren't they?
most of those
Are
guys
they?
next year are free agents.
Yeah.
You mean? Well, I don't know about that, but have you heard about the reports coming out of the NBA right now about the team?
No.
The
I know
suspense
They're-
is killing me.
They're trying to blow it up because Scott Brooks can't coach John Wall, and John Wall's calling him some
Gotcha. Oh, yeah.
very
I saw
profane
that.
names.
Ooh, drama.
Profane.
Yeah, but watch your profanity. But but yeah, so like internal stuff over there is kind of blowing up, and they're saying that everyone's available for trade right now.
Wow.
Wall, Beal, anyone,
Let's.
Otto Porter,
The whole team?
like they literally said the whole team is available to trade. Like,
Yikes.
yeah,
Can we talk for a second about Kemba Walker?
yeah, that
One of
guy's
the most
killer.
underrated players in the NBA.
So, Jake, you probably don't know this.
Yeah,
but
no, enlighten me. I don't know
so,
that name.
A couple days back, he dropped 60 points in a loss.
Wow.
Then he dropped 48 the next night.
On another loss?
No, he won that game.
Okay.
I forget who it was against. He dropped 60 against the Sixers and lost in
60 against
and,
the
I
Six.
think he won Celtics. won
Celtics. They beat the Celtics, which is a really good team in the East.
Okay.
So, but yeah, Kemba Walker is killing it.
But
he's been good for a long time though.
He's one of those guys where
people
he's
just
been,
sleep on him,
He's been good for a really long time, but the team around him is absolute garbage.
which is sad. But it's also cool to see a player like that stick with
Yeah.
his team. You know, not
Yeah.
chase rings. It's kind of old school mentality, but
There
I
hasn't-
think I respect it a lot more.
like Charlotte. Where are they now? Charlotte Hornets. They don't get press coverage. They don't get media coverage. Like, to see them on a nationally televised game, almost.
Yeah, right.
Never.
Unless they're
ever
playing
happens.
a nationally televised team. Yeah.
Yeah, but even
right.
then, who wants to watch,
Toronto
versus
yeah, right.
It just doesn't happen. There's somewhere in the league there's a better matchup.
Do you think he should stay, or do you think he'll
Should he
stick with
stay,
the Hornets?
or should he go now? If he stays, there may be trouble.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry.
Interrupt it before he goes further. No. If I was him, with how much ring chasing goes on in the NBA nowadays, you just got to do you.
I honestly think that if he keeps playing like he's playing, that someone
Someone will
to
give him.
No, I think someone will come to Charlotte.
I don't think so.
I think so.
Nobody wants to play in Charlotte.
But I think when he's playing at that level, I think that I want to play with this guy. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I think so.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool to see. That's enough about the NBA, though. Let's move on to the NFL. Standing wise, we have the top 5. I'm not going to go through each division in football. It's a lot, but
Sure.
Top 5, we got the LA Rams, 10-1. Had a great win over the Chiefs. That
What
was
a game
killer
that
game.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Insane.
54-51, was it?
Yeah, 54-51. Last I heard, that was the highest scoring Monday night game in
Yep.
NFL history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no team has ever lost a game after scoring over 50 points. So that's a new NFL record
You know
also.
what was crazy, too, about that game?
Mahomes,
Was
man.
is both those teams rely on their defense a lot. I mean, they both have really good offenses too, but their defense on both teams is really good. But I think it was actually a really defensive game, even though it was high scoring.
Right.
I think there was 4 touchdowns,
Defensive
touchdowns.
Yeah.
So
Crazy.
I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah.
For a game, you know.
It was cool to see, too, because I think Patrick Mahomes had 2 fumbles lost in 3 interceptions. 2 interceptions? 3 interceptions?
Yeah.
But he still stuck with it.
Yeah.
Like, for being a
He threw 4 TDs. I think he threw
6.
6 TDs.
goodness.
6 TDs.
That's unreal, man.
That dude is crazy.
So to
what's
get
the
out there-
record for
I think it's 7.
most touchdowns
In a game?
in the year? Because
Oh.
he's sitting at 37 right now.
That I don't know.
I don't know.
I'd like to know that though, because he's probably pretty close.
But, like, the fact that he's I mean, obviously, he's not technically a rookie because he kind of redshirted that first year behind Alex Smith.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this is his first year
No,
starting.
he shouldn't be putting up these numbers. He should not be. I mean,
then
he's crazy.
to see him lose lose the ball twice, throw it away 3 times, and then just get out there and keep slinging the ball for
Yep.
6 touchdowns.
Okay, so it looks like in 2013, Peyton Manning threw 55
55 touchdowns for the year.
in a season.
And we're in week 12?
We're in week 12, and he's at 37. He could do it. He could
if
do it.
If he has a couple more crazy games
Yep.
like this where he puts up
And
6
well,
touchdowns.
obviously, they're going to make the playoffs too.
Oh, yeah. They
You know
could,
what I'm
could
saying?
lose
So
the rest of the
that's more-
season and still
yeah.
make the playoffs.
They've got the Raiders, so they got a bye week coming up.
He could do it.
They have Raiders, Ravens,
Win.
Chargers, Seahawks, and Raiders again.
So, no offense to any Raiders fans out there, but that's 2 wins for...
Correct.
Yeah.
It was
And
crazy too.
Ravens as well.
It was crazy too because for me, watching football, like I watch a team, and it like intrigues me.
Right.
But I was watching this Chiefs game, and that kid Tyreek Hill,
So fast.
like I would watch a Chiefs game just to watch him.
He had a couple phenomenal
He is
breakthroughs.
I've
and-
never watched him play, like just him. That was nuts. Like it's watching like LeBron or Kobe or MJ play. Like it's like in the NBA.
Yeah.
You know, when you watch a game just for a player. It was nuts.
Yeah, for how incredible the defense was playing on both teams, I'm still surprised at how much yardage there was in this game.
Uh-huh.
It was...
It was like over 3,000, I want to say.
It
was something. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah,
Total yards.
Hill had 215 receiving yards
Himself.
by
Yeah.
himself.
Right.
Wow.
But yeah, great game, obviously. So that was the Rams have the top spot in the NFL at 10-1. Second is New Orleans, 9-1. Kansas City sitting at third at 9-2. Pittsburgh's at 7-2-1. Had that tie in the first week, I think, against the Browns. And then fifth is actually Chicago sitting at 7-3.
Khalil Mack has just been
Yeah.
a monster.
Uh-huh.
Monster.
It's been a pretty cool. It's been one of the most exciting football seasons in a while, I think.
It's
in
just
my opinion.
nice to see the Patriots just trash it up right now.
Catching those kind of middle of the pack numbers.
Trashing it
Yeah.
up at 7-3 is still pretty good, though.
Like
you know
when
what I'm
you
saying?
have
Yeah,
no,
true.
but you have the Chargers and the Houston Texans
Yeah.
sitting above the
Bears.
Patriots
The Bears.
and the Bears.
Yeah.
Let's not leave the Bears out.
Bears.
The Bears.
You've got Chicago, Houston, and the LA Chargers all sitting above the Patriots. It's just like, it's nice to see.
It is. I'd
It
agree
just-
there. Yeah.
It makes your Super Bowl,
the
Super Bowl.
thing is-
I'm going
is-
Saints,
The Patriots.
Rams. You're going to see one of them.
The Patriots know how to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're going to make the playoffs, and then that's when they're really going to play.
Yeah.
It's just like everyone's complaining about how, or there's these people who are like, oh, well, the Warriors are doing so bad this year, blah, 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 blah. But it's like they know what they need to do just to get into the playoffs. And then once they get into the playoffs, they don't. It's just over. You know? So we'll see this year. But, yeah, exciting times for sports fans. But that's it for the sports segment. What do you got for us, Garrett? What's good in your section of life?
Of life? Well, they dropped the Dumbo trailer. Did you guys watch that?
I haven't seen it, no.
It was fun.
Yeah?
So I haven't seen it, but I heard that it's dark.
Yeah, Tim Burton directs it, so it's
okay.
got
Yeah.
that dark feeling. But it's kind of just obviously they did Jungle Book already. They did Beauty and the Beast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now they've got, looking at the list, I didn't realize how many they have coming up. And I want to get your guys's...
I gotta rewatch the old Dumbo.
See, and that's the thing, and that's what I want to ask you. But here's the list of what we got coming up. So March 29th, we have Dumbo. After that, Aladdin.
March?
Yeah. Aladdin in May.
2019.
Yeah, all this 2019. The Lion King in July.
No way.
Yeah. Which
my
live action
goodness.
Lion King, so probably something very similar to Jungle Book, I'd imagine.
That's exciting.
Like
I did
completely
not know
CGI.
that.
How do you make a live action film, right? Like, it's got to be all CGI.
It'll probably be all CGI, kind of in the same vein as
That's interesting.
like 75% of Avatar was all CGI.
Yeah.
Well, 90% of Jungle Book was CGI.
These
Yeah,
are all
but-
coming up for sure, though, huh?
Yeah, Mulan in 2020.
Not just speculation.
No.
That's cool.
Pinocchio,
Man, Lion King, I'm excited about. I didn't even know
Prince
about that.
Charming, which Oliver Twist, which that one I kind of wasn't crazy about as a kid. James and the Giant Peach, Cruella, Tink is in Tinkerbell, then later Peter Pan.
Is it just about Cruella?
I don't know.
Because it's not 101 Dalmatians. It's just Cruella. Huh,
Yeah, that's as
interesting.
much as you know at
Yeah.
the moment right now. But Peter Pan after Tink, Lady and the Tramp, The Sword and the Stone, Lilo and Stitch, which that'll be interesting. The Little Mermaid, Snow White.
Lion King, though. That's going to be
Corey
so
can't get
cool,
over
dude.
Lion
Yeah, I think that's the highlight out of all of it is the Lion King. All of these other ones.
Aladdin looks good though. They dropped the trailer for Aladdin, like the
See,
teaser.
I never liked
Aladdin.
Aladdin as a kid, like the original Aladdin.
Yeah.
But I think that I could like this live action one.
See, and that's why I want to ask you: do you feel like, because they've already released 2, you're coming up with Dumbo,
What was the 2 they released? They released
Jungle Book.
Jungle
and
Book?
Beauty and the Beast?
Beauty and the Beast. Okay.
We're probably missing one.
Probably.
Beauty and the Beast.
They had Pete's
was,
Dragon too.
Right.
But
that
for
was
me-
a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast was for me. It was good.
But does the live action take away from the originals? Because after Beauty and the Beast, I went back and watched Beauty and the Beast, the cartoon, and was like, "This is trash."
See,
Like-
for me, the
You thought-
cartoon was better for Beauty and the Beast, and for Jungle Book, I wouldn't say that it takes away. I think it makes it better in a way, but also it's really cool to rewatch the original Jungle Book.
So, to your point, Corey, I agree with you. But Garrett, you said that you went back and watched the original Beauty and the Beast after the CG, and you feel like the CG one was better than the original. Watching the original, you're
He
like, "Wow,
actually
this
said-
is bad."
He said
Is
the
that-
cartoon was trash.
So
is what he
the
said.
cartoon is trash. Really strong language. That's what you felt.
No, it's just like, it's hard to watch. Because, like, whatever you want to say about Beauty and the Beast, whether you like the story or what they did with it or how the Beast looked, like, it was shot very well. And the CGI was incredible, right?
I'm with Jake. Yeah, I'm a
I
little.
had problems. With,
Yeah.
no, I had problems with the CGI. The CGI was arguably it looked really great, but I have a problem with it when the CGI looks better than the real human actor, because the human actor felt so out of place
It looked like it was
that
fake.
it was
Yeah.
jarring and really distracting, and
Also,
I
think
couldn't
that
shake it.
I think it's relative.
Yes.
Because now we have all this technology and
Yeah,
we're doing live action
exactly.
Disney. But back then we were watching cartoon Disney and it was like the best thing ever. But now
Right.
because we have CGI and whatnot, and they're making CGI Disney films and stuff, it's like now we're comparing the two, but they're not really to be compared because it was different times.
Yeah.
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 For me, I feel like where the CG was used very heavily but wasn't jarring was the latest Jungle Book done by Jon Favreau.
You liked it, right?
I liked it, and Mowgli didn't seem out of place.
Yeah.
Like it
No,
felt
I,
like he
see.
fit.
I loved the new Jungle Book.
Right. And
It was great.
Yeah. And I felt like Beauty and the Beast didn't fit.
Yeah.
See, I think it's more.
agree.
I never liked Beauty and the Beast. You know, like
You did though. I remember you singing the
it was
songs
okay.
all the time.
Yeah, and that was kind of like
Okay, another thing too. I feel like they messed with the songs in the new Beauty and the Beast.
but they did that in Jungle Book too.
Yeah, they got to put their own creative spin on it.
I didn't like
It
it
can't be
in
the
Beauty and
same.
the Beast though. I really liked the original soundtrack.
Yeah,
Of Beauty and the Beast.
no, I'll agree with you on that. But I don't know. It was something about like going back and just the style of animation.
Uh-huh.
Jungle Book, I could watch Jungle Book, the live action, and then the one that was made in '67, the animated one, and be like, they're both great. Because I don't know why the animation, even though Jungle Book was made in '67, and Beauty and the Beast was made in '91,
Wow.
it was like, I don't know. It was just like just the style of animation going from live action Beauty and the Beast to going to the
I have to
original. was
watch
just
the
kinda like,
cartoon
meh.
again.
With the animated Beauty and the Beast, they kind of, I think that was one of the first movies that started to work on that, like that 3D modeling a little bit. Because remember in
Yeah.
the ballroom scene,
Yes.
there's this really immaculate shot that's shot from top
Above,
down,
yeah.
and it sweeps around both characters as they're dancing. That
Yeah.
was kind of the first shot done like that, where everything else.
Back
Jungle
in the
Book-
90s, you're talking about?
Yeah, or that
Yeah.
was. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong.
Oh,
But
Garrett just said 91, I think.
yeah, so
Yeah.
91 is when this is pretty innovative. Whereas in Jungle Book, it's all hand drawn, you know, and so it has a different like
Yeah.
tonal feel to it. So now that CG in Beauty and the Beast from 91 is dated because it's compared to other CG that we have now. Whereas the hand drawn stuff kind of stands alone because it's kind of outside
Yeah.
of that realm of being like 3D animated.
And that's a perfectly said, because I think that's really what I was trying to get to and didn't realize that. It's
You're
kind of like it's kind of like
I didn't know that's what you wanted either.
no, it's kind of like watching the prequels to Star Wars. Hold on. Where you can watch the originals, and just because of the way everything was shot, it's like this is a beautiful film. And now you can watch Force Awakens, you know, where there's a ton of, you know, amazing.
Action.
They're shot
shots and
differently,
stuff.
right? But they're each beautiful in their own way.
Yeah.
But then you have that middle where it was like 2000s, where they make the prequels and they're kind of just starting to change the way they start filming and adding CGI, and it's just a little bit too fake.
Very, very fake.
Yeah.
Very
yeah.
fake.
Okay.
Jar Jar Binks was the first completely CGI
Character.
motion capture
Was
character.
he really the first one?
He was before Andy Serkis did Gollum, but because the Lord of the Rings trilogy was a commercial success and the Star Wars prequel trilogy was not a commercial success,
Right.
Andy Serkis got more praise than Ahmed Best did for portraying Jar Jar Binks.
That's interesting.
But the thing is, in the prequels, they started to rely more heavily on the CG. And it was one of those things where the real characters looked fake and out of place in this CG created world.
See, and that's where I think kind of in Beauty and the Beast, like you said, with that overhead shot, there's just a little too much of like that just doesn't fit. You know, where you've got like a hand-drawn background and then characters that are like a little bit, you know. So I think that's where it's kind of hard, where I like some of those movies, if they're hand-drawn, if the originals were the hand-drawn animation, it's easier to go back and be like, that's a great movie. Like Peter Pan. You're like, oh, that's a great movie. And Lion King. Let's go with Lion King as well.
Lion King kind of had some innovative shots too. That one where they're following Zazu.
But that was like...
over the plains?
Yeah.
They had perfected it enough to where it didn't look out of place. You know what I mean?
What year was Lion King?
I don't know. It just seemed like... I'll look it up. But it seemed like...
93?
Going back and looking at...
96.
Beauty and the Beast, it was kind of just like a little too much in between to where I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah. So yeah,
but
Beauty and the Beast was 91, Lion King was 96, so they've had 5 years to kind of perfect that technology,
right.
And it felt more seamless. I do agree with you that
I think that
it didn't take me out of the moment watching it, but then again, I haven't seen the original Beauty and the Beast in well over 10 years.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
thinking of it now, it doesn't stand out to me as something as being jarring and taking me out of the moment. But I could see where you're coming from. Like, I get that, because to agree with your point more, that's how it was for me with the Star Wars prequels. You know,
I knew that's all I had to do to win you over. Let's just bring up the prequels.
Bring up Star Wars.
But it was such a change in tone.
Yeah.
But that's the way George Lucas always was. Is he was pushing the boundaries and trying to create these new creative ways to shoot film. But by Revenge of the Sith, there wasn't a single shot in that movie that was shot on location. It was all rendered on green screen.
Yeah.
They did have practical models that they used, and they would, they'd shoot them and download them as like scale models so they could have that as the background. But it was all CG.
Yeah.
And, so it felt weightless. The environments they were in felt weightless.
Yeah.
Speaking of pushing the boundaries, we got some sad news last week about Stan Lee passing away. What do you guys have to say about that?
I want to see what Jacob has to think, because out of the Marvel universe, what movies have you seen? You've seen the Iron Man?
Yeah, I saw the first Iron Man that came out in 2000.
Only the first? Or all three?
I have seen all three.
Okay.
But I saw the first one in theaters when it came out. And then I was on a trip with some friends down in Oklahoma, and I saw the second one in theaters and was severely disappointed with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I honestly don't think I have seen any other Marvel movie in theaters.
Yeah.
I've seen quite a few because they're on the Netflix and the Redbox.
I think Garrett's the biggest Marvel fan. I haven't seen a lot of the Marvel movies either.
Yeah, I've watched all of them.
Yeah.
I like it because I know some people don't like it because it's too actiony. Or like Jacob, what do you find to be the problem with it?
I find that
what turns you off? Because you haven't watched them all.
Right. The ones that I have seen, I really like stories that have an origin story. Batman Begins is my favorite Batman movie. Iron Man 1 is my favorite Iron Man movie because I really love the origin story and the building this character. And but my problem is always the third act with these movies. It's always kind of the same thing. Either the entire planet is at stake, or the galaxy is at stake, or the universe is at stake, and it's constantly raising the stakes, and it's just this giant...
Isn't that what Star Wars is, though?
We'll get there. It's... with this, it's... No,
big ball, need to blow up.
True.
He's gonna kill me.
No, but what I was getting at is it just becomes this giant CGI fight scene.
Right.
Like
that's how the whole thing. Yeah.
Best example I could think of that drove me crazy was the end of Doctor Strange, where he fights that giant. Spoilers for Doctor Strange. He fights this giant disembodied face that's on this other plane, and he gets caught in this time loop over and over again, and this monster demon from the universe kills Doctor Strange over and over and over, but he used his time amulet to create like this loop. So every time he dies, right? Every time Doctor Strange dies, he comes back to that moment where he first encounters the face, and the face gets upset and is like, "Oh, we're stuck in this time loop." That was really dumb.
Yeah.
It was
yeah,
really
sounds,
dumb.
I can't even. I didn't ever want to watch it, and I want to watch it less
Yeah.
now.
So I mean, that's just one small example, and I kind of feel like the middle of the road Marvel movies, like from early 2010 to like 2016, they all kind of followed the same formula,
Right.
where they had a really great first and second act, but then
Yeah.
the third act is just a
It's all
punch
about
fest.
the action,
Just dudes punching each
action
other.
scenes and what they can do with the CGI and graphics and whatnot. But yeah, no disrespect to Stan Lee, because he's obviously an awesome writer, and he like captivated so many people from all around the earth. But I can't really relate to like superhero movies and stuff like that, and I just like Iron Man was probably my favorite Marvel movie, just the first one.
Same.
But that's just because I liked.
This is also coming from the two people. I don't know about you, but Jacob's never seen Black Panther.
Not yet.
I haven't seen it yet either.
Oh my goodness. So that's so unfair to say that that's like.
No, that's not unfair to say that out
When
of the
you're
movies that I've seen, out of the Marvel movies,
When your track record is
Iron
for
Man
movies
so
that
far.
I like are like 1 and 17 that I don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not really in a good position to win me over to try another movie and spend up to $12 in a theater. I saw that the Black Panther and Thor Ragnarok are both on Netflix now.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about giving them a shot, but
Thor was terrible. Thor was awful.
See, but that's the problem, is if you jump into it, it makes no sense.
and that's the problem.
But why is that a problem?
Because at
It's
the
the
moment,
same thing with Star Wars. If you were to jump into Force Awakens,
I would argue that
it's
you could,
not as. It's a good movie, but it's not as fun if you don't know the whole backstory. Because how many Easter eggs do you miss in Force Awakens if you've never watched any of the other movies?
For me, Marvel, DC, all these comics, superhero stuff, just knowing the backstory is boring to me. Even the whole story is boring to me. So I just can't get into it. Like that's what I was saying about Iron Man. I liked it because it was like a good entertainment movie, not because I liked the story or what you can learn from it or how it's so relatable or anything like that. It's not like that type of movie. It's just it was a good movie to watch, entertainment wise. It had cool action shots and stuff, and it was like it's a cool movie. I'd watch it again. That's my favorite Marvel movie. But like I get your point about how in both series, Star Wars and any Marvel movies, the Avengers, whatever, you have to know the story to not just jump into one of the movies and say that you know, and then base the movie off that. But for me, it's like even knowing the story to some of these Marvel comics and whatnot, I just can't get into it. The story all put together is interesting to me. In Star Wars is I can watch a movie that's kind of out of place. Like I can watch a movie that's I don't know Star Wars that well to tell you a specific movie, but I don't have to know the whole story for it to be interesting to me. So Star Wars is more relatable
There
for me.
were a few fillers where it was kind of like Iron Man 3, meh. Like don't get me wrong, there is a few where you're kind of just watching it for the Easter egg at the end to talks about what the next episode's gonna
the
or what
post-credit sting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So there are some of those, but then at the same time, there are some really good. I just like how they came in with like a 10-year plan and knew exactly what was going to happen at the end and created it so long ago and went with so many movies and just slowly linked them all together for this big finale.
Yeah.
And I mean, whether you like it or not,
I don't.
it's a money machine, right? Every single one of those movies blew out the box office, you know? So, I don't know. I think that's just why I liked it. Because for me, there was enough in each movie to go, yeah, I'd watch the next one to see where this goes. Not to say that every single movie was super great. You know,
it just wasn't enough for me to follow the story.
Kind of like Doctor Strange. It was kind of like the only reason this is here is just to introduce him and give you his background story so that we all know why he's here and how he got here. Was the movie fantastic? No. But cool. Now I know how he got his powers, why he has his powers, what he can do. Yeah. Which just sets you up for the next movie. Doesn't, mean that they're all super
What do you think,
fantastic.
Jake?
Well, so the finale that you're talking about is Infinity War?
Yeah.
So I watched Infinity War when I was on a really long plane ride. And I had a lot of fun with it. And even though I haven't seen
know the backstory.
Previous 15, 14 movies that led up to it, it was still a lot of fun for me. And I feel like they handled the reintroduction of these characters in this particular movie really well, and also the exposition to try and help you know where, I guess, what the state and the stakes were handled very well. And I could follow the story well enough to understand the first, second, and third act and how it all paid off. And I didn't really feel the weight of the resolution of the movie because I hadn't seen each of these characters' standalone movie. But I just felt that it was handled really well, which is a testament to how that movie was made. Yeah. You don't have to see all of the other movies to have a good time watching this movie.
But it pays off for you if you have.
Right, but that's what I guess that's the way it is for any fandom. The more involved you are in a certain fandom, there can be certain references that are made that you're like, oh, wow, that's really cool. I think this movie Solo is a good example of that. There are a ton of references in this movie. But if you don't understand the references, like when Kira takes out that one guard at the Kessel Mines, and Woody Harrelson's character says, oh, where'd you learn how to do that? And she says, it's Terrascasi, Dryden Voss taught me. Terrascasi was a fighting style from a video game, an objectively bad fighting video game based on Star Wars characters. How many of you knew that Terrascasi was from that
to that
game?
Point, technically, the movie Solo flopped. Not many people liked it.
That's not the point I'm making right now.
What I'm saying is I think it flopped because of what you're saying, of that these references people didn't get.
I disagree. I would say
I don't think so.
that her saying Terrascasi, that's a cool sounding Star Wars name or descriptive thing. You don't need to know.
Walk out of the theater going Terrascasi.
Yeah, you didn't need to know Terrascasi to understand. What I was trying to say is, this is just another one of those small world building aspects. It's the same as Obi-Wan Kenobi sitting in his hut in Star Wars: The Motion Picture, saying, "I was once a Jedi Knight with your father." And Luke says, you fought in the Clone Wars? These are things that, when this movie was released, there was no backstory until the year 1999 through 2005 when George Lucas made the prequels and showed us what the Clone Wars really were. So that's just world-building stuff. You don't need the background reference to appreciate it. Sometimes the imagination of what these things are is better than what you're actually shown. So little things like that isn't what made Solo flop. Marketing made Solo flop, and it being released so close to Infinity War and Deadpool 2. The first trailer for Solo didn't come out until the Super Bowl of this year, 2018. Whereas, Force Awakens and Last Jedi, you got the trailer a minimum of 9 months beforehand. So it was poorly marketed, and there is now Star Wars fatigue. It's been 3 years since the first Star Wars movie, and there's been four of them, Star Wars movies released. So there's a bit of fatigue. But I would argue that these offhand references to things that have come before are not responsible for the poor box office performance.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to get this train back on its track. Closing note. Stan Lee, what a guy. I mean, think about all the kids, when you think of a children's hospital, you think of superheroes and window washers dressing up like superheroes, but somebody he created those figures that are so powerful to like kids, people,
That kids look up to now.
That kids look
and
up
wanna
to.
be,
Which is crazy.
And not just kids, full-grown men too. You know.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
whether you like it or not, he created this Marvel universe that is like it kills.
Yeah, actually,
I mean, they blew DC out of the water. There's nothing DC can do right now
Yeah.
to ever get close.
Yeah, there's actually a quote from Stan Lee I wanted to read and get your guys' take on this. He said, "I used to be embarrassed because I was just a comic book writer, while other people were building bridges or were going on to medical careers. And then I realized that entertainment is one of the most important things in people's lives. I feel that if you're able to entertain people, you're doing a good thing." So I think that's kind of in the same vein that you were leaning towards, Garrett, is he created all of these characters, helped co-create with Jack Kirby all of these characters that entertained thousands and thousands of children and helped them escape from whatever problems they were going through in life. They could, bury their nose in a comic book and be swept away on this fun adventure, or, identify with one of these characters. Maybe Spider-Man is the most identifiable because he's a young kid in high school, But I don't know, what is your guys' take on that? On Stan Lee's quote about entertaining people and it being a good thing?
Me personally, like I just couldn't get into the superhero comics and whatnot, but I totally understand how that kind of entertainment is what some kids like look up to, and how it affected a lot of people around the world.
Right.
But just because it didn't hit me personally doesn't mean I don't respect it. I mean, it's a
Right.
beautiful thing what Stan Lee did.
Yeah, he's a modern day myth creator.
Yeah.
This is the same as Greek men fighting minotaurs and centaurs, and this is stuff that I think is going to be almost timeless. These characters that
he'll
he
be remembered
helped create.
forever. Yeah.
It's an
Absolutely.
amazing thing that he did.
Because when you think of just saying the word superhero, what do you think of?
Superhuman people.
No, but like character-wise.
What do you mean?
I know
That's
what
super vague.
superhero means.
I was going to say
No.
Superman.
Yeah, so list off like superhero. 5.
Batman, Spider-Man.
Superman again.
Okay, you think of Batman, Spider-Man, Superman, Wolverine, Captain America, Iron Man.
Sure.
Like,
What's your point?
just it's crazy how he took that one word, superhero, and then just created a universe that you can basically only think of him. I mean, don't get me wrong, DC has its share of superheroes, but like it's crazy to think that he created a word
Yeah.
and created characters to back that word.
I wouldn't give him 100% of the credit for creating
'cause
the word.
Superman
No.
was a character before Stan Lee. Like Stan Lee,
I get what you're saying, though.
Yeah. like Stan Lee helped co-create Iron Man. Not Iron Man. I'm sorry. Captain America in the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
But I see what you're getting at.
And
He's like on the same level as Walt Disney.
Yes, that's a more apt. Yeah.
Because it, like you said, even if you don't really enjoy Marvel movies or superhero movies, it is a crazy thing to realize how each of their movies connects, and how it follows so closely not only with each movie but with the comic books that came years before the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everything connects. Like
Yeah.
you said, it's a whole universe. So that right there should be respected,
Yeah.
because that's not an easy thing to do.
It's like if, and who knows, Disney kind of might have done it. It's like if Disney made everything apparent that every movie was connected somehow.
Right.
If Lion King and Jungle Book somehow
Yes.
gave you
yeah,
a-
that's a good example.
existed in the same-
existed in the same realm that Peter Pan and Aladdin, and that is crazy
Yeah.
and fantastic. And I think that's really what I enjoy the most. It's just so cool to see everything connect.
Uh-huh.
But
yeah, and he was kind of a pioneer in some of the characters he did help create. You know, Corey and I talked about this between us earlier,
right, yeah.
But he helped co-create Black Panther, which was the first African main character to be a superhero, and that was in the early 60s. And then after Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated, he helped co-create Falcon, which was the first African American lead superhero character.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so he pioneered these social issues in these fun
Into people
comic
that we look
books.
up to.
Yeah, in these
Yeah.
fun comic books meant for kids and teenagers.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he really cared.
Stand-up guy.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So Jake, what do you got? What's good with you?
Yeah, well, normally I focus in on Star Wars news, whether it's for TV shows or whatever, but there really hasn't been anything this past week that's notable. You know, last week we kind of talked about that new announcement about Diego Luna being
That's
cast.
right. Yeah.
For Rogue One prequel. But this week, nothing too notable. There's a couple rumors, but I don't want to be a rumor monger. So we'll just, I'll only focus on facts from StarWars.com. Since I don't really have anything, I was just kind of going to ask you guys a question, something I've been kind of thinking about this past week, just because I'm just life stuff has kind of been going on. Been watching a couple movies and television shows that
Feel
just
a little bit emotional.
Yeah, no, things that just kind of make me feel better. You know, put me in a better mood. So I was going to ask you guys, are there any like movies or television shows that you watch that kind of just make you feel good? Like for me, my favorite movie that puts me in a good mood is The Wizard of Oz. A classic, but it's just a movie.
With or without the Pink Floyd.
Without Pink Floyd, which is fun. Maybe we should have that be an episode that we talk about.
We should.
But unadulterated Wizard of Oz, start to finish. For me, it's just a really fun, feel-good movie that puts me in a good mood. And
doesn't that make you emotional though? Because I thought we've had this discussion off air.
Yeah, there are a couple scenes that I view as being particularly beautiful, like the first time that Dorothy sings "Somewhere Over the Rainbow." To me, it makes me
But even if
emotional.
you're like crying during a movie, it still can make you happy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Big picture, I find myself smiling through the whole movie and kind of like
Regardless
in
of
my
the
head.
emotional roller coaster you go on.
Yeah, like in my head singing along the songs and just it's it's really over the top goofy. And it's fun. As an adult, I still really enjoy this movie. So I wanted to ask you guys if there are any movies that are or television shows that are your go-to when you're kind of in a funk and you just want to put yourself in a better place, or just anything that kind of lifts your spirits.
I don't really like go to movies when I'm in a funk to get out of a funk.
Sure.
But if I had to pick a movie, and I haven't seen it in a while, but I love it and it's a feel-good movie for me. Remember the Titans?
Great movie.
And
Which is kind of the same. You kind of go through.
no,
that
it is.
emotional
Yeah,
roller
like I
coaster
totally
of
cried during
being
that movie.
Yeah.
But it's a happy movie overall. Because it's about people coming together, and it makes it makes you feel good. That's what a feel good movie is all about. So,
Right.
but and Radio. I like Radio a lot.
I've never seen Radio. Not without any spoilers for my benefit. Give me a brief synopsis of what it's about and why does it make you feel good?
It's this young African American, and he has some
like a mental issue, I think.
A mental issue. I don't know what exactly they're trying to portray in the movie he's dealing with, but it's about this football coach who kind of takes him under his wing and befriends him, and they just have this really strong bond, and he gets to use this I forget his actual name in the movie, but it's Cuba Gooding Jr. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Sure.
Actor. Yeah. Okay. But they form this bond, and he gets to be used on the football team, and it's a really good movie about that relationship, and it's back when
Of course,
racism was at an all-time
segregation.
high. So it's a white coach with a black man, and they form a bond, and there's obviously some people who don't like it. So that's kind of what the story's about.
Why does it make you feel good?
Because of the resolution at the end.
Non-spoiler.
Throughout.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Garrett, have you got one? either movie or television
Yep.
show that just makes you feel good?
Lot less emotional, but The Office is kind of just the always go-to.
Oh, for TV show, I would
Yeah.
totally agree.
Are we talking U.S. Office or UK?
U.S., yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
going
Yeah,
with
okay.
the UK.
I'd agree there. The Office is awesome. Just,
All around
yeah.
show.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And because my wife she had never watched The Office all the way through.
So why'd you marry her?
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like, you know, like everybody's always so, like, they always want that moment of like watching their kid realize that Luke's father is Vader.
Right.
It's
right.
kind of just like that, like, yeah, sorry, spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler for
Oh,
Empire
sorry.
Strikes Back, bro.
Sorry,
Everybody.
man.
My bad.
No, but it's just, it's so much fun to watch somebody else.
I thought his dad was Yoda.
It's fun to watch somebody else watch The Office, you know?
And catch
'Cause-
like the jokes for the first time and
Yeah, because we just watched the
series.
season 8 series finale.
Spoilers for The Office.
Yeah, and you know it's all about how Dwight's getting married and everybody's kind of coming back, and they do the Guten Prankens and all the, you know, the Bachelor.
Guten
shoot
Prank
the-
number 1.
Exactly right. So, you know,
Yeah.
I know all the moments that are coming, but that moment where Michael is standing in the doorway after Jim tells Dwight that he can't be his bestish mensch.
What's crazy with The Office is no matter how many times you watch it,
It's
those little
still
scenes
funny.
still get you.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And hearing and just watching her die when Michael does his "that's what she said." Like the
Right.
first thing he ever says to Dwight is just that little chuckle, "That's what she said."
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
It
It was
set
just so
up
great.
yeah,
It's
it
just fun.
It was set up perfectly.
Yeah. So
I would go TV shows now that made me think of it is Psych. Makes me feel good just
Sure.
to watch it.
Yeah.
It's just funny.
it's about death and crime, but no,
But
Well,
it's like
it's
it's
super
fun.
lighthearted.
Yeah, lighthearted for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
But yeah, The Office, Psych probably be my TV shows. I was thinking more of movies, but yeah,
Yeah.
TV shows do it for me too. Yeah.
yeah.
Right on.
And yours Wizard of Oz. That's what it was, right?
Yeah, Wizard of Oz is my movie, my
TV
go-to. TV show. I would probably
You can go with The Office. It's not a cheat.
Yeah, you know, The Office is an easy answer. I think everyone at the table here is
In agreement on that.
in
one.
agreement that The
Yeah.
Office is just a really fun. It's a fun TV
You're gonna
show.
get a laugh no
you
matter
know?
how many. Yeah.
The perfect thing about it that I find is there's enough seasons and there's enough plot points that change throughout those seasons to where you can watch them over and over and over and over again. And I find myself sometimes I'll start at season 5 and watch all the way to the end. Sometimes I'll start at season 1, watch to season 4, then jump to
Yeah.
You know, like that's the fun. That's the best thing to me.
You don't
about
have
The
to
Office
watch it
is-
in order.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
is you can kind of just, it never gets old because so much stuff changed and happened that you can watch it forever and either have it on in the background or, you know, sit
It'd
down
still
and
be
watch it
interesting.
and it still
Yeah.
be funny.
Yeah. So, you know, The Office being the obvious answer, and for kind of for the same reasons why we all picked The Office, I'm going to pick Seinfeld.
Oh, that's a
Seinfeld
good one.
recently made it to Hulu.
Yes.
And I've been able to watch through it again. You know, I'm a guy that grew up in the 90s, and this was a television show that was always on, and I never watched it on television from episode 1 to the final episode. It was always, you're just catching stuff in the middle. You know, reruns, you're not quite sure what season it is.
Right.
Because all of these episodes kind of exist within themselves, with the exception of a couple part 1 and part 2s.
Uh-huh.
But they're all very self-contained stories
Yeah.
and unique unto themselves, and you don't need
Right.
hardly any of the backstory other than to know that these 4 people are friends.
That's a great show. I
And-
kind of yeah.
Yeah, and I can just watch
I love Seinfeld.
any episode, and some of Jerry's jokes are so incredibly dry. I love it. Like, that's my style of
Yeah.
humor, is just kind of dry and sometimes right on the nose. But I love it. It's just an easy thing to just pick up and watch.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw a second one in there too because now that you said that, it got me
I have
thinking,
one that made me think of something else too. Yeah. Go ahead though.
Good question.
MASH.
Oh my goodness, MASH.
I'm not a fan of MASH personally, but I can totally see why it.
I have a couple things to say about MASH,
it's
but
just-
go ahead and state your point.
Just
Again,
mash it all up.
there's so many episodes, and they're just so lighthearted. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a few episodes that it is sometimes gets heavy, but
Yeah.
for the most part, it's just a fun, kind of sitcom-ish comedy TV show that, I don't know. When I can just find myself watching episodes upon episodes and just having a good time with it.
Yeah. Within the past couple of months, that was actually one of the television shows that I would put on kind of sort of as background noise as I was falling asleep in bed.
Right,
and again, it's
right.
another one of those shows that I just grew up watching.
Yeah.
I've never watched it from episode 1, the pilot, to the end. In
You don't need to though, really.
Right. But after watching it again, now, I probably haven't seen it in 20 years, and now it's on Hulu, and I've been watching it. Or I think it's on YouTube TV is that we're watching it on.
Yeah.
But the jokes and references are extremely dated.
Yeah.
Very dated.
Yeah.
A show like this would not happen today.
No.
It is
It offends some people.
incredibly sexist. It is
Yeah.
incredibly racist. But if you kind of put yourself in the mindset of that time period, I guess, I mean, this sounds really horrible to say, but it's like kind of acceptable because that's the mindset of the world. And people weren't
time.
speaking up about these types of issues. So if you can kind of divorce yourself from where the world's mindset is today in 2018, MASH is a very
Yeah.
fun show. And it's
Yeah.
always meant tongue-in-cheek. Like, it's supposed to be
Right.
kind of self-aware, but
Uh-huh.
I love it. And yeah, that was a good pull, Garrett.
So when you brought up Seinfeld, it made me think of a newer show that's on Netflix, and it's Jerry Seinfeld who is directing it and doing it. It's comedians in cars getting coffee.
I haven't even heard of this.
Dude,
I haven't watched
you
it.
have
No,
to
seriously,
watch.
yeah.
You both have to watch it. It is.
What
like
platform
the-
is it on?
The
Netflix.
like for a feel good show, it's exactly what it's there for. It's so Jerry Seinfeld goes around, and Jerry Seinfeld has this like immaculate collection of cars. So some of them are his cars, some of them are cars that he, I think, just probably borrows from a friend. But he takes these cars and he'll like it's what it sounds exactly like. He takes
Like
another
pick up
comedian,
Kevin Hart or pick
Jimmy
up,
Fallon, Kevin Hart, any of these comedians, and he goes and gets coffee with them, and they just talk.
And they just talk.
It's like I think each episode is about 20 minutes, and they
Didn't he
just
get
talk.
David Letterman?
And it is the funniest, most like feel good show. That's all. That's what it's for. That's all it is two comedians getting coffee and talking, and of course, there's gonna be jokes because they're both comedians, but
Right.
it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You really have to
Is
watch
it a
it.
Netflix original?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a
Netflix?
great show.
Netflix is on point lately.
Yeah, they
With-
are.
I mean, that's a whole other subject, but
Yeah.
But you got to watch that. Comedians in cars getting coffee. Comedians in cars getting coffee. Yeah.
Yeah.
cool. Very cool.
Have to. Jacob,
Yo.
speed questions. What do we got?
Speed
from
questions.
listeners?
Well, we have letters from listeners. The first one is coming in from Moonbeam. She asks us
Moonbeam or Moonbeam?
Moonbeam,
Huh.
like a beam from the moon.
Heyo.
Moonbeam. Her question.
Clarification.
Her question is: you are about to get into a fight.
Mm.
What song comes on as your soundtrack?
I like
so
that it's all in caps too.
all caps.
It's
I have to
screaming
all
it.
caps.
What's your favorite fight song?
Only one question mark, no exclamation points, but this is a very emphatic question. Corey, you got one for us? What is your
I'm going
I Will Fight
the
You
White
song?
Stripes.
The White Stripes.
Icky Thump. Icky Thump.
Icky Thumb? Like
Nope.
Your
Thump.
thump.
THUMP. Thump. Like thumper.
Uh,
Thump. Icky Thump.
I can't
I can't believe you never heard that song before, to be
haven't.
honest.
I have it. Okay.
Do you like Jack White?
Yes.
Okay. You
Yes.
should listen to it. It's really good.
Okay.
But-
I mean, I've probably heard the song.
Yeah.
I'm bad with some of these songs
Yeah.
and putting names to
Right.
them.
Or Stairway to Heaven.
As your fight song.
Yeah.
Fight song.
Yeah.
It takes, like,
I'd have to wait a little bit.
14
before I-
minutes before the
Right.
crescendo.
Right, but it's my fight song. I mean, it gets you going, right?
Yeah, but
Fair
it's like
enough.
that's how you get out of the fight is while they're, you tell them, hey, shh, we have to listen to the Stairway to Heaven. You can't do anything
Yeah.
during Stairway to Heaven.
But no,
so,
where obviously everyone knows where it picks up. In
Oh, yeah.
Stairway to Heaven.
yeah.
And
I mean-
as we wind on down
Yes.
the road.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
the vocals in that are probably the thing that would just get my juices flowing. I couldn't lose that fight after listening to that song. That's for sure.
Right on, Garrett. What's your fight song?
I think it's gonna have to be the stereotypical "Eye of the Tiger."
Eye
It's just like
of the Tiger.
Just like when you think of a fight, it's just like that song.
Bam. Bam. Okay. Yeah, I dig it.
Hey, at least it wasn't like
It's the thrill of the fight,
Adele
right?
or something.
Right. For me,
I mean, I guess you're rising up to the challenge,
of your rivals.
right?
Okay.
You don't know that. You don't know who picked a fight with me, Jacob.
Maybe you're the last known survivor.
Oh my god. I'm not
Okay.
stalking anybody though, and it's probably daytime. No, it's probably nighttime.
And I'm
Just
more
the
of a
thrill.
lion.
Yeah. It's just the thrill of the fight.
It's the eye of the Bengal tiger, endangered species. Sorry,
All
off
right,
topic.
Jake, what do you got?
What do you got? Speed questions never
Yeah.
turn into speed questions.
No, and that's fine. My fight song would probably be Battery from Metallica's album Master of Puppets. It's got this slow kind of acoustic guitar intro, and then it's just immediately heavy. So it's kind of like you have that 30 seconds to
Talk to the guy.
reconsider if we're going to actually fight. And if we do actually fight, then it's on.
Stairway to Heaven, I have about 4 minutes.
Stairway to Heaven, you've
Yeah.
got 13 and a half minutes.
You
if
get
you're
to
listening
walk
to the
in
live
circles
version.
and wait for tumbleweeds to come down the street.
Right, right. But yeah, something that's like high energy, but you still give them that opportunity to really reconsider,
Right.
are you serious? Is this going to be a fight?
Yeah.
So
That's
That's
good.
fine.
That's good.
Sure.
We have any more?
I do. So the next one comes in from Pickle.
Huh.
Pickle, like from a jar.
Like a dill pickle.
Sure.
Like a nickel.
Zesty
I'll trade you a nickel
for
your pickle.
any pickle. No,
Two
stopping.
cents.
Her question is, what would you name your own boat if you had one? What would you name your boat?
Oh, man. Garrett,
Now
take it
all
away.
I can think. No, thanks.
Yeah.
Now all I can think of is what was the name of Nard Dog's ship on The Office?
Oh, I don't remember.
I don't know why that's the first thing that came to mind.
You can call it the Nard Dog if you want to.
Maybe I would.
The Nard Pup.
That's so hard.
Corey, do you have a name?
Because like
I
I feel like
can't
it
think
has
of-
to be like a sea pun,
It doesn't always have
like
to
an
be.
ocean pun.
What would you go?
You know, I would probably, because I have a dog named after a character in this book, I would probably name my boat like Red Fern. My dog's name is Little Ann, and it's one of my favorite stories, is where the red fern grows. And because it kind of holds like a special place to me,
Yeah.
this story, I would probably call my boat the Red Fern. I can't think of any puns right now based on the ocean or water.
Yeah.
I don't know. My wit is starting to run a little dry. That
Is
was
that
a
it?
pun there, guys.
I know, I got it. Yeah, thank you.
Water, dry, running dry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's not
Okay.
funny when I explain it.
I don't know.
Is there anything, like, first thing that comes to mind, even if it doesn't
The
make
seal
s-
breacher.
The what now?
The seal breacher.
The seal-
breacher?
The
So are
seal
you-
breacher.
Like,
I'm
are you
breaching
running
seals.
over seals?
No, he's,
Yes!
no, he's preaching to seals.
The
breach.
seal preacher?
Breach.
B.
I misunderstood.
Breach.
You're,
As
a,
in,
Seal
like,
breacher.
you're a bad,
You
bad
said
man,
first thing
Corey.
that comes to mind. Seal breacher.
Like splitting seals in half?
Okay,
like,
it's a pun
get out of
because
my
there's
way.
a seal beach. It's a seal breacher.
Gosh.
Sure.
Wow.
Garrett?
I don't know what to go with after seal breacher. Oh
So,
my goodness.
Blackbeard, his boat
Oh, I
or
know what I'd
ship,
call mine.
his ship's name was the Queen Anne's Revenge. Kind of a,
Oh, I could go Captain Phillips. I'm the captain now.
oh,
That's gonna
like
be the
that
entire
one.
back of the boat.
Yeah.
Captain Phillips, I am the
Yes.
captain now. ...
Mine would be the CodFather.
The
good.
CodFather.
Too bad you had to Google it.
bad I
I
had to Google
think that pun is floundering.
Oh
boy.
Okay.
Oh my God. Okay. Well,
Wow.
we good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
You guys have any other you had any speed questions you wanted to throw out from the top of your mind? Those are just the two that I had from our letters from readers / listeners.
Those are good for me. Yeah,
those are
I
good.
can't think of anything
Okay.
off the top of my head right now.
Let's do the business.
Yeah, Garrett. So if someone wanted to have their question brought up on the show, how do they go about doing it? Give us the business.
The business?
The business.
Well, they can email us at notthedayjobblog@gmail.com. Of course, they can always find us on Instagram or Twitter at notthedayjobpod.
Not the Day Job Pod
Not
on
the
Instagram
Day Job
and
Pod.
Twitter.
And of course, we want to hear from you guys. We want to get your questions. We want to get your... And it doesn't even have to... It's as long as it doesn't have to do with our jobs or your job, we don't care what the question is. It can be, what do you want to name your boat? Or,
Anything.
It can be anything.
I mean, it could even be a talking point if you want it. If you
doesn't have to
had
be
a
a speed
subject or a
question.
topic
Right.
that you've been thinking about.
It can be a basic question. It can be a more deeper question that we can, like what Jake said, make a whole topic about.
Yeah, I mean,
Doesn't matter.
if it's not a lottery, but sometimes there may be a question that comes up that we want to devote an entire episode to. So yeah, feel free, anyone.
Yep. And of course, all of our episodes can be now found on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and of course, our wonderful hosts over at Podbean. You can find our catalog at notthedayjob.podbean.com, which has been fantastic hosts. So easy to throw this thing up.
Yeah,
Actually, way easier than we ever thought. So
yeah, we kind of thought there was going to
nice.
be a lot of problems putting this together, but Podbean is really user friendly and have helped us put our show on multiple platforms.
Super quick.
Yeah, really quickly.
Super quick.
We're 1 week since we went live, and we've had 24 downloads of our first episode. So everyone who downloaded, everyone who's listening, thank you so much. We appreciate it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel on whatever platform you prefer. The best place to find all of our stuff is on the Podbean website or the Podbean app. Again, that website is www.notthedayjob.podbean.com, and we had one download last week from the United Kingdom.
Awesome.
So if you are still listening, friend from the United Kingdom,
international.
you are our first international subscriber.
We'll send you a T-shirt when we get them made.
Corey is going to pay for that T-shirt and the shipping. He agreed. Your mission, if you choose to accept, is I want you to be like the 28 days later virus and spread not the day job all over your island for us. I want at least one more download
you just
over
lost
there.
him there.
Yeah.
I know.
Calling his country an island.
It is.
Yeah.
I know, but I think they think
I
of
have a
themselves
question.
of more than an
I have
island.
a question.
No offense. Sure.
So if I'm a listener, when can I expect episodes to be released?
We try to record on Sundays and release on Mondays.
Okay.
But it's tough to get schedules together. So if we do not have an episode on Monday, we plan to release on Wednesdays.
And maybe some weeks we'll give you two.
Yeah,
Just
yeah. The goal is to
depends on how
eventually
we
maybe
feel.
lead up to 2 episodes a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Awesome.
Monday primarily will be the main download day. Yeah,
Sounds
so
good.
look forward to us on Monday mornings.
We'll try to stay as consistent as possible.
Yeah, I mean this is still in the beginning stages of the pod, so there's a lot of room to grow. And if you guys have any suggestions or recommendations,
Questions, comments, or concerns.
yeah, please email us. Our email is notthedayjobblog@gmail.com. So just hit us up, and if you have any suggestions on how to improve the quality of our content, let us know. We're open-minded, and we're always looking to improve the production quality of our show and just have a good time doing this. This podcast is a hobby for all of us. Obviously, this podcast is not our day job, but we still want to make it enjoyable, and we want to try and do a good job. Make it something that's fun to listen to, and also something that sounds good, something that's entertaining.
I didn't run this by any of you. I feel like calling out a listener. Can I call out a listener? I want to get a question from a listener in
Sure,
particular.
do it.
I want to hear from Chris.
Chris,
'Cause I know he listens.
Chris, we would love.
I want to get your question.
Yeah.
I would even want to interview Chris. If I
Yeah,
could put that
yeah.
out
We,
there.
we plan to
Okay, I'll
actually
be
bring
honest.
Chris onto the show.
I tried to bring him tonight, and he said no.
Oh,
I know.
that hurts.
I know.
And I'm not
Never
going to cut
mind.
this out of the show.
Yep.
I want him to hear this moment.
Never mind.
You've
I
heard
don't want
all
your
of us.
question. Chris.
No, I still want his question.
Yeah, I want your
Yeah, I do. I do too. He's got quite a few of them, so we're looking forward to all the questions that we get.
Especially Chris.
Yep.
Man, if we don't hear from Chris, it's gonna be so disappointing.
All right. Closing thoughts?
Nope.
Episode 2. That's a wrap.
All right. Not the Day Job Squad. Punching out.